Are you good? No, no, you're good.
Yeah, I'm ready right now. We just have to stop the tape if we have to.
All right. Just make sure it's like move the mic this way just a little bit more. Yeah, so it's kind of like in the center of you.
Oh.
Okay. All right. All right. Arrow. What up, man? Jaxon 1616. Creator and host of One Mic Stand. Of course, 1/3 of Sex of Strangers. Shout out to Sin Juice. What up? What's going on? So I'm back in St. Louis, as you can see, for night number 2, interview number 2, episode number 2 in the hometown. Got another special guest. All my guests are special, but this one is really, really special. My mom, of course. And I'll let you introduce yourself in a minute as far as like your social media and everything like that, if you want people to find you. If you don't, that's fine too.
Right.
But it's always great when I can get my mom to come on, whether you're on the live, whether you're on the show, whether you're in the comments. You know, people always kind of recognize you and acknowledge you, and people just really, really think that it's really awesome that you are comfortable, like, I guess, coming onto the platform and just entering the conversation and joining the conversation. So thank you once again for coming on. This might be like your 3rd or 4th time like doing this with me, so I always appreciate it. So thank you. And but introduce yourself before we can kind of, get it going and get started.
Hi, everybody. I wonder if you know how you go, Europe. I need to find a tag.
You ain't got to do
I know, okay. I want to do, Mom Duke's in the house, but I didn't make that name up. Anyway, how's everybody doing? It's good to have my son home. Good to see him. And I don't really have a handle.
You don't Instagram, or you don't want to say
it's at Barbara Jaxon 5109.
All right, well, that's all you got to say.
Oh, okay. It's my name, really original. I think I'm going to change it, really, because everybody knows when I come into the platform, and I kind of want to come in, incognito.
Why?
Because I might want to make a comment that.
Well, we talked about, all right, so we talked about that. But I don't know. But we were talking before this about kind of like what the platform is about, or at least what I want it to be about.
Right.
And it's all about not being anonymous. It's all about, owning your truth or living within your truth and being open and honest and transparent. So, like, why would you? And I remember saying, like, if you are ready to tell whatever your truth is, then just tell it. And then you was like, yeah, I think I'm ready, but I don't want to come under my name. So I was like, well, you're not ready then.
Right. Yeah. And
so, like, why I don't? What's the fear in joining the conversation as you?
The fear is because I have a lot of information to share, but I'm still a little embarrassed of like, man, I'm be saying it. But at the same time, you are an adult, but it's weird. It's a weird position of outing myself. And it's something that if I do, because I didn't do it with you consistently, I don't feel like baby steps. I didn't walk you. To me, I feel that I didn't get a chance to talk with you as much as maybe they feel that I am open with you to go to that level.
Well, what I think it is, I think people are impressed just because of the fact that you even on there in the first place. First of all, because I think a lot of
Say that again?
I think that other viewers who like see you, just the fact that you listen to whatever it is that I'm talking about, being that the content is what it is, like it's, it's adult rated or whatever,
right?
R rated or sometimes X rated. I think people are impressed just with that, without you having to say anything. Oh. Just the fact that you're there and you're like an active participant and just viewing your child talk about the type of stuff that I talk about. I think people are just kind of taken aback by that, just with nothing else even added onto the top.
Is that okay? Well, hold on for a second. The extra ears in the room, is that what you feel? Kind of, sort of? Okay.
What did she say?
No.
She said no.
She said no.
If you gonna ask her, you can say what she said.
Well, she didn't want, but she okay. So, do you find my presence on his podcast, listening and participating, as he said, they're just, you didn't say amazed, but you said they're impressed because I'm listening to the X-rated or the R-rated content. Is that why? Do you like me on the contest? Do you like me on his podcast? And why?
I think you give good information on the podcast. I mean, you're giving it from a parent perspective, and you're also giving it for supporting your child perspective too. I like that you're on the podcast.
I'm just telling you from feedback that I've gotten.
You give good feedback.
Feedback that I've gotten from people seeing you on there.
Okay.
People have come into my DM saying like, "Oh man, like that's so cool that your mom is like, you know, watches you or watches your episodes or listens to Sex with Strangers or whatever." Because, you know, and then they follow it up with, you know, because my parents, my mom would never do that, or
But excuse me, I didn't mean that to interrupt you. But what parent is not going to champion their child?
Well, not. I mean, I think you might be surprised of the things that some people's parents like don't necessarily approve of or get behind all the way, depending on what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on what it is, like, and the fact that you're actually, I'm just telling you what I've heard. I mean, I'm telling you what some of the feedback that I've got.
Because I had no problem.
So I think that's why whenever you are on the show or on the live or whatever, like it's automatically interesting to people. Because not many people get a chance to sit down and have adult conversations when they're both adults about adult things, but we're still a parent and a child.
Okay, got you. Because perfect. Okay, well then I would like to come on more often, but I don't want to be. Only because there are things that this conversation is going to possibly peel back on. I feel like there are some mom-son conversations that I missed giving you or sharing with you, and I was gonna say my perspective, but of course that's the mom perspective. But I didn't tell you, and I've thought about this more as I heard you on Sex with Strangers, of when you're dating girls or when you're doing this or when you're doing that. And so I didn't elevate because I knew you were on the path for baseball, so I just talked about baseball until you were ready to stop. But by the time you were ready to stop, shit. You were 30, 33, whatever. So I was like,
I was 28. I ain't played. I stopped at 28.
Okay, wow. So I didn't get to talk to you. 20 is the Easter story. Okay, 28 to 33. I could have come in those 5 years and told you, okay, well now that you finished with your first love, baseball, let me tell you about these two-leg gloves. You know, is my cup of water over there? Excuse me, the women out there. And I didn't because
28 would have been too late anyway.
Exactly, but better late than never.
Okay.
So, okay.
Well, I mean, what conversations did you feel like you missed?
Oh man, well, you not being a virgin anymore was one, but I knew that because I didn't have a conversation with anybody else because none of my peers had sons. They had daughters, and so I didn't have anybody to talk to. But I would have liked to have known, but at the same time, I used to talk to myself in the mirror and be like, well, Barbara, he's not going to tell you that. That's what he and his dad are going to tell him about. But I'm like, but I'm his mom. Why can't he? I mean, that's who he's fucking women, so why can't he tell me? And I wanted to know, so when I did ask you that, and you told me, you were like, yeah, I was like, okay. And it was just like, wow, Barbara, because I could have had a glass of champagne. I could have had a beer. I could have celebrated that if you were my daughter, I would have had the same conversation. And I've had these thoughts. I'm ready now. Get the water. And please. She's going to hand you some water to hand me.
Oh. Well, you didn't say all that. That's why I'm listening to you talk.
Yeah. So it's just weird because I was like, I raised you as a son, but I really ought to have raised you, and I did it the first part, raised you as a child. and teach you everything: how to sew, how to cook, how to make a snowman, how to do puzzles, whatever, play piano, put you in dance class, all that stuff, or whatever. And then I was like,
I would never know dance.
I know. I knew you were gonna say that. But I thought about putting you in dance class because it's okay for boys.
I'm not saying it's not okay. I'm just saying that.
I know.
I
right.
was never in a dance class.
Exactly. But you did play piano. You were in an art class. But situations happened. And I was like, well, you know what, Barbara? He's got a dad, so his dad is telling him this. But I was like, but you're his mom. You need to tell him, still do your part. But I started feeling some kind of a way.
In terms of
when you were leaving, going to Philadelphia, there was a whole nother storm happening on this side in St. Louis, and maybe just with me because I overanalyze shit. So, and it didn't connect. I had disconnects. So if the audience, I don't really care about what the audience feels. I want it to be something that you feel. If you feel like you want to talk to me, then, you'll call, write, whatever, text. And because I prided myself on not being a helicopter mom, I didn't initiate always texting you. I was like, boy, Barbara, when you were 28, shit, Jamal was 8 years old, so he's busy, doing what 28-year-old boys do. And the other person on my shoulder be like, but that's your son. You're the mom. Go ahead and pull rank. And I had to battle with that. And so.
Okay.
So circling back, why they want me? I mean, why am I really impressed upon as in the audience when I'm on your panel? Being a parent to you, because I haven't been a parent to anybody else, but being a parent and then trying to, I don't want to say navigate, but trying to navigate where I fit in was kind of weird because.
You mean me being an adult?
Not so much you being an adult, but, well, not so much you being an adult, but what we started, what I tried to give you as a foundation, I felt that it was being not severed, but it was being, it was a contest. I felt that there was a contest of mom, dad. And I knew you were a boy, so you're going to gravitate and probably model and be more like your dad, and you're with his family. And then when you came home, like you said on the one of the shows, my mom just all of a sudden, when I was like in college and 18 or 19, she just became real cool. And I don't know what age was that.
18, 19.
Okay, 18. So you had already.
Or 19.
You had been away from school for a semester or so.
Yeah.
Okay, and you said I was like, yeah, well. That was where the battle. It showed as coolness to you, but for me, it was a battle. There was stuff happening that I was reeling from. So,
okay.
Yeah, which is a whole nother program, whole nother show. Maybe you could come back to it in the conversation today. I might touch on it. So.
All right. Well, the main.
But it's great being here. Excuse me. It's great being here.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, but so the main thing was you said that you had mentioned that made me want to go ahead and do another episode while I was here.
Mm-hmm.
Was a result of the Jaxon 5 episode.
Yeah.
Where I had listed 5 questions or something like that I felt like you should ask somebody before you enter into a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt like these particular questions would tell you a lot about the person, while having a conversation.
Right.
And then you said, I guess one of the questions, stuck out to you because it was a parenting question. So what was it, I guess, that you wanted to talk to me about or ask me about or to expound upon?
The other four really don't, I can't really go into because they're sexual with you. But the parenting one was the one that this part of your 5, it was your 5th one. And you focused on me and the mom, and I took notes, and I can't find my piece of paper. It's not one of these in front of me. But you said what were the positives and what were the negatives.
Well, what I said was...
Excuse me. Let me finish. And then
okay.
I think I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
I think
All
I
right,
got
go
it.
ahead, go ahead.
And you said, because I wrote it down, and when you write things down, you remember it better. Because I know you said my mom's sarcasm. It was like you said my mom's sarcasm can be condescending sometimes.
But you're butchering the question first.
Oh, okay. Hold on. The question. Well, what was your question?
That's all I wanted to interject.
All
with.
right.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, but the actual question was, if you could, if you would critique or if you could change one thing about your mom/dad's parenting style, what would that be?
Okay.
So that was like the actual question.
Okay.
So it was critique or change.
Critique or change.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I heard it as that's the trick. I heard it in my good ear as what were the positives and what were the negatives. Okay. Seriously. Mm-hmm. And that's not what you said.
It's not.
You
no.
want
That's why I cut you off.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So now that we know that, so that's where I was coming from with my rebuttal, ready to tell you. And I wanted to say it on the...
Well, you can still say it.
I am going to say it, but I wanted to say it on the live. But at the same time, I was like, no, I want to say it to him. And I didn't know that this was going to be, that I'm going to be saying it on the live now, you know. Excuse me. So I heard you say, my mom, she's a teacher. And she's teaching kids all day. And then she comes home and she has to deal with another kid, and I get some of the brunt of it. And you were right, you did. And the fact that you're a kid, you knew you were getting it, but you didn't say anything because you're the child in the adult situation, child-adult scenario, and I should have known better than to bring that on home to you, which made our relationship tense.
Just remember that.
Oh, everything stopped? I can stop, right? Okay.
Yeah, this is on battery. And we're back. You don't remember what you were saying? You said something about I was taking the brunt of it. That was correct, and then you were kind of...
Right. You were taking the brunt of me working with kids all day, or whatever my day at work gave me. And then when I saw you, there wasn't a buffer. So unfortunately you got it. And I've been told in relationships, before even hearing what you had to say, but you experienced it, that I need to not be so sarcastic. And in fact, that was like that was his deal breaker in our relationship.
Well,
so
sarcasm isn't bad.
I don't think so either.
When it's condescending, I think that's where it gets a little murky.
Teach me. What does that look like?
To me, sarcasm is more so like comedic. Condescending is like I want you to know that I'm smarter than you. I want you to know that I'm better than you. And I'm going to say it in a snarky way, but it's going to be simple enough for you to understand exactly what it is that I'm saying.
Do you feel comfortable giving me role play and give me an example? Maybe not going back those so many years, but something, today now.
I can't really, I don't have a...
And you're not a condescending person.
I don't have like I can't really think of a specific example.
Okay.
But a lot of, to me, like, being condescending also is a lot in tone or just your energy or, like, your aura. Like, I don't know. It's hard to put in words. It's hard to give an if something comes up in the conversation where I feel like I have a chance, an opportunity to be sarcastic, I'll catch it and I'll announce it, and then I'll actually do it. And I'll do the sarcastic way and make it funny, and then I'll do the same thing, but I'll make it condescending.
Okay.
So I'll just make a mental note.
Okay.
of that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because yeah. So I think sarcasm is good, but you're right. It can go over the edge and be condescending. And the fact that I know that's like saying my name is Barbara and I'm an alcoholic and I want, I mean, you have to, that's how you have to change it.
Yeah.
So I'm Barbara, I'm sarcastic. I need to, once you admit what you are, then you know better how to make the path to fix it. And nobody was telling me that. Hence, you were receiving it and anybody else was receiving it. I didn't have anybody who could shadow me or close to me to tell me, you're being condescending. And it didn't come up until none of my partners' boyfriends said it until recently. And what's this? This is 2020, so probably in 2012, 2015. So I've gone from when I was born and had you and you're parenting you, and I knew it, but it wasn't called.
Right.
But at the same time, do I need somebody? Do you need to be told what you're doing when you know that you are doing it? And fix yourself. That's that self-awareness, which you throw out there. You're very self-aware. Maybe I'm not self-aware. But for me to have raised somebody who is,
all right,
kudos. I'm a good.
So condescending or sarcastic. So say maybe I'm not self-aware. Like yes.
That was what I just said.
Right.
Okay. So is that sarcastic or
No,
condescending?
I'm saying say that again, and we'll do it right now.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I'm not self-aware.
No, that's sarcasm.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Maybe I'm not self-aware.
You see what I'm saying? Like it wasn't really, I didn't have to say anything, but it's energy. Mm-hmm. It's like tone, it's body language.
You know what? Okay. You're okay. And I did it. I did it just recently. And I didn't, and it's almost, and okay, because I thought it, and I should not have let it come out my lips. And it happened at my little job. It happened at my little job that I had. It's kind of, yeah. That's exactly what it. Okay.
This is hilarious. Oh, but this is more sarcasm. Oh, it's hilarious. Like it's obvious, but it's funny to me that it's an epiphany
that is right.
for you.
But no, But now that you just role played with me, I did see it happen. But I'm retired now, and that's not the reason why I retired so hastily either. But I'm sure it had something to do with it. But it happened at my job. Yeah, my little semi-retired job. Yeah. Okay.
So, all right. But the question itself, though, like, what were your rebuttals, or how did the question make you feel in terms of the question itself? Mm-hmm. And then how did my brief answer too? Because let me say that, right? The episode was, the goal was to get the questions out there. The goal wasn't really for me to answer all of them as if how I would answer them fully if I'm actually talking to a person.
Oh,
because that would have taken, it would have been like 90 minutes. If
you're taping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I was trying to, my goal was to put the questions out there, to explain why the questions would tell you a lot about the person.
Got you. Okay.
And then to give so that was like the meaty part of what I wanted the episode to be about.
Right.
Why these questions would be significant.
Gotcha.
But I was trying to answer them myself in a very, very concise way. Mm-hmm. Just so like, it's not like I'm just out here telling people what to do, but I'm above the advice, or I'm above. Like, I want you to answer the questions, but I'm not going to answer them.
Right.
So that's why I was just trying to, just give like a brief answer to all of them. And I think I skipped the first two. I didn't, because I went back and looked at it. I don't even think I started answering the questions until I got to like number three or four.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, my rebuttal or my comment, and those are some good questions. That's because I sat there, I was like, wow, you've put a lot of thought into him, but at the same time, your age, I couldn't see somebody 21, 22 asking those questions. But then again, there might be some 21, 22-year-old viewers who will take your advice as a sage man, obviously, and you've learned and lived some things, and they'll try it. Just like this conversation with, parents. But I was like, oh, wow, let me hear this question. And he said, my mom. And I was like, and I perked up a little bit, and I was like, he said, she's sarcasm, kind of. I was like, oh, yeah. And da-da-da. And I was like, okay. And I wrote it down. And then you stopped. And I was like, okay, look, you got two parents. Everybody's got a dad. What's dad? I was kind of a little hot about that. I was like, well, what did dad do? And I said, that's okay. That's okay, Barbie. You know what? It'll come up when it's supposed to come up. You can ask them when you can ask them. And hey, lo and behold, here we are. So the change, you wish you could change my condescending and sarcasm in my parenting. And was there another one?
No, that was really all I could. That was all that I could think of. Because I think I even said like, it was a difficult question for me to try to give an answer to. Because I mean, looking back, like I really do feel like you guys both did pretty good. I don't feel like I have like really like childhood like trauma or childhood like anything that really just sticks with me like today based on how I was brought up. So not saying that I don't, I'm just saying like I don't specifically like identify with this right here is why I feel like how I feel like.
Well, hold on. Okay. Like so when was that question? Well, not when was it created, but obviously that question was created because something I did was something about. Okay, so how did it come up?
The question was created because I just noticed like people that I've either dated or just people that I've just friends that I know, men and women. It's the more people that you talk to who are within the same culture as you, like you notice like similarities in terms of how people are raised. And one of them is just like black kids aren't really, well, black kids of my generation, I'll say that. Black kids who came from my generation, we don't, it's across the board where like you don't really talk back. Like it was what we would now call like communication was called like back talk. Like while I was growing up. Yeah. So there weren't many conversations generally in terms of, why do I have to do something that you told me to do? Like that's not a conversation in a black household for real. It's I say you do this and then you just do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it doesn't matter how it makes you feel. It doesn't matter how you feel about it, or it doesn't matter if you want to talk about it. Or you know what? Maybe we'll talk about it, but do it first. But it's not really a conversation.
So it's not negotiable. It's a one-sided thing. I'm the adult, you're the child, I'm the parent, right. Do it.
And I think that's very, very similar. And also, I'm sorry, also the question stemmed from just realizing that my upbringing, although similar in some ways to a lot of other black people, was very, very different to a lot of other black people in terms of having a relationship with both parents, having a good relationship with both parents, having a relationship where I actually felt like you guys did talk to me as opposed to talking at me.
At you.
You know, having a relationship to where now that I am an adult, like I do feel comfortable having platforms like this and actually having you on it, or having conversations where I am comfortable about truly telling you like the truth, or like just being like actually like open and honest, and just like not really caring, like in a way, like not really caring what you're gonna think.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not talking to you in terms of like wanting approval. I'm talking to you in terms of just wanting to have a conversation.
Right.
But I feel that way as an adult, because I actually do feel like as I got older, like that door was always kind of open.
And that's good. However, I never got the knock. I never got the call.
But that don't. But see,
And that's what. And
that don't really
that's
matter.
probably right. It doesn't. But that's where, in my mind, as mom, who was, I wish I got the call, and I realized.
But see,
and that's that battle.
But see,
because you'll call me when you need.
But you also have to understand too is a lot of kids don't even have a phone to make that call. That door ain't open to a lot of they don't feel like maybe the parent says that the door, or maybe the child wants that door to be open, but because of the type of relationship that they have with their parent from the child's perspective, the child don't feel like that door is open. Okay. Or some parents say that the door is open, the kid goes through the door, finds out that door ain't got concrete behind it. That door really not open. Okay. You say that it's open. I come to you feeling like it's a safe space. I say whatever it is that I need to say, and you don't support me, or you do disagree with me, or you're just critiquing me as opposed to just listening to what it is that I have to tell you, because I thought that this was a safe space. So and again, I meet people who are having all of those thoughts, and they're telling that to me, and that's making me realize that my upbringing, although similar, was very, very different. It's different. Okay. Because I never felt like that I couldn't come talk to y'all. Now, whether I utilized it or not, like I said, that don't really matter.
Right. But you have the welcome. You feel that the welcome mat is there.
Yeah. Okay. Because in essence, right, this is the door.
This is. Right.
It's just I'm just 36. But we wouldn't have this conversation if I didn't feel like the door was open when I was 8 or 9 or 10. If I didn't feel like the space was safe as a kid, you wouldn't be on here. And like I said, I'm gonna talk to my dad too. But and he, like, I don't know if y'all know, but y'all kind of like told me the same things of like, you know you can talk to me about anything, right? And as a kid, you just be like, yeah, all right, yeah, I know, whatever. But you hear it over and over and over, and then maybe I was parented, so well that I didn't have to utilize that door.
Yeah.
But now that I have the words and the capability to think and that I'm an adult, and now that I feel like I've gone through life a little bit, and obviously you guys have gone through life, twice as much as I have, the playing field is a little bit more level in terms of now we can kind of have a conversation and it not necessarily be parent to child.
Right, it's adult to
now it's just adult to adult.
To adult.
Or whatever. But that would never happen, because you'd be surprised as to how many people, if they were to have a podcast, could never have their parents sit across the table from them. Because either I'd feel comfortable, or I'd feel uncomfortable in my chair talking about adult stuff. Yeah. Because that space was never really granted to me. Or you'd feel uncomfortable because you know that you never even offered that space. So you can't even take your parent hat off and look at me and have a conversation with me just as an equal, because you ain't never thought that I was equal for real. You always wearing the I'm the parent, they're the kid. That's it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No. Okay.
A lot of people have
Fascinating.
those experiences, and so
Okay.
and it's like I guess to tie it back into like relationship stuff. That's important because that's just like the way that people interact with their parents. To me, I feel like it says a lot. But no, I was just saying like it was like a culmination of all those things. Excuse me, as to like where the question came from.
Okay.
Didn't come from like a traumatic experience or nothing like that I had personally.
Got you. So this is my question based on that. Do you think because a mom is a boy's first girlfriend or woman that he's engaged in, and a daughter, her dad is her first boyfriend, first man that she knows. Do you feel, and I kind of know some of your dating career, so to speak, but I get a lot of it from the podcast. Did something about your past relationships, do you attribute their going off the rails because of something that attracted you to her because it reminded you of me? Or was there something about her that attracted you to her, but also my negative, the critique part, did that also kind of derail whatever's going on? You didn't know any other model?
I don't know. I mean, I never really like. I know that's a popular thing for people to say, like, or that's I guess a popular thing where it's like, guys look for like qualities that their mom has, and like vice versa, like daughters or women, little girls look for qualities that their dad has. I never really caught myself doing that,
Okay.
like on purpose. I don't know if that was something like subconsciously, but that was never really something that crossed my mind. I mean, in girls that I've dated, I would say that like once you're dating them or once you're getting to know people, you can kind of you see similarities, whether they're positive ones and negative ones. You see things that says like, oh, like that reminds me of my mom or whatever. That's something that my mom would do or say. But that's not, for me, it was never like, oh, that's something that my mom would do. That's why I love you. Or that's something that my mom would do. That's why I can't deal with you. Like, it's
Right.
never been to that point.
Right. And you wouldn't want to say that out loud. That would be those inner thoughts, by the way.
I mean,
But then again,
yes.
And the other one, do you feel, do any of your other friends, did you ever see their interactions with their parent, Mike, and single parent? Was his mom not condescending or sarcastic?
nah, I don't know if I knew it that intimately.
Because she
His mom is definitely can be sarcastic because both of y'all are in the education. Like that's, to me personally, I just think that is a smart person thing. A lot of smart people don't know how to wield it though. Like very intelligent people know that they're intelligent, but they don't know how to wield that. Some intelligent people, they don't even know that they being condescending. They just, in their mind, I feel like sometimes they be thinking like, why don't you understand this? But they don't also understand like their genius. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I do.
because she's super smart,
Right.
she's a college professor or whatever. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, so that might just be a smart person thing. But because I could get sarcastic vibes from her, but I can't say that I lived it every day like how he may have lived it. And then also I can't really say like I don't know how. I mean, I know Mike, but I can't say that I know the ins and outs of like their relationship in terms of how he received it from her.
Right.
Was it something because that might not have been like a critique of her.
Okay, to that question.
Right.
Got you.
Not saying that she's not sarcastic.
I got you, right. But
Or not saying that she may not be condescending at times, but that just may not be the thing that stood out to him.
Right, that was your trigger, or that was yours. Were there any others?
That's really all I could think of. I mean, the only thing I was going over was like the punishment stuff, but that's more comedy stuff.
Yeah, that is kind of comical. And I want to rebuttal on that. You know,
Okay.
I want to say, it's funny. It's funny to me. Again, that's sarcasm. As a parent, there was no book. And I used to go to mommy. And it was like, while you were inside. And I was like, what is... She says, hey, you'll figure it out. Mommy was no help. But she was help, but she was no help as far as telling me little secrets. Because every person, every woman's parenting is different. But she was there, and I knew she was there as an anchor, if I needed whatever I needed. And so I was like, wow, that's right. And I was thinking about this, and I don't just think about it like recently, but back when you were growing up, it's like, dang, I don't have a book to look for these punishments or how to correct them, but he needs to have correction. And I wasn't going to call your dad. That, to me, and maybe I ought to have called your father, but he was, miles away. So, and I felt like, well, no, Barbara, look, you can go ahead and you can manage this. And I did. And I think had I been a little bit more open the door for him to, hey, look, Jamal's doing such and such, and I need for you to talk to him. But I felt that if I let that happen, and I was about to say give it away as a choice of words, if I gave him that opportunity, and I'm here in St. Louis and you're here with me, and I call and I have him talk to you and talk to you and correct you, I lose my power as the custodial parent right here.
I don't
And
know. Well, how?
Exactly.
And who you lose your power in whose opinion? In mine or his?
This is in my opinion.
No. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying you lose the power to who?
To you as the child, because you could have been manipulative and say, well, shit, mom's going to call dad and he's going to tell me what to do and I'm going to have to do it. But if I say, Jamal, you'd be like, okay, Mom. And that could have opened the door. What you going to do, call dad? And that would have made me give you the backhand. I didn't want to rely on him parenting miles away, telling me, suggesting, we communicating together, for what to do with you. I can, figure this stuff out. Let me figure it out. So I did. And I think about, like, man, maybe you should have called him and told him, what Jamal's doing, good or bad. Just like teachers are supposed to call, we call students, parents, I call my students for thumbs up calls and thumbs down calls, to get that relationship going. Because had I done that differently, then who knows, your dad and I might have been a united family, as opposed to me parenting here, and then I'm allowing you to go there. And that's another thing. So there's another thing. I was talking to a coworker who's retired, and I forget the topic, but it was you. And I said, yeah, well, Jamal he'll go visit his family, his dad's family on the East Coast. And she said, well, that's what you did. You taught him how to leave you. And I was like,
but was she saying that in a good way or bad way?
Well, she's a teacher. She's an educator. She might have been being sarcastic and condescending. Yeah. The way I heard it, we were talking about you coming back. When was the last time I'd seen you? When was the last time you were home? And I said, well, it's been a second. Last time he was home was, I told her for Uncle Sill's birthday, anniversary, not retirement, but his birthday and all that stuff. And
that's actually not true, though. I came home in the summer.
This was before the funeral.
Well, that too.
Who's
but
wedding?
I'm talking about for Tally's brother.
But you didn't see me. I didn't really see you.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you meant to see you then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not. You can come to St. Louis. I don't give a
You can curse.
I know, but I wasn't. Okay. So anyway, so this was between that or whatever. it was in 2020.
Okay.
Well, between here 2020 and September 2019.
Okay.
And she said, "Oh yeah, well you taught him how to leave you." And I was like, "I'll be damned." And it made me drop her off or get her out of my car so I can go and drive or do something and think, "Damn, did I teach him how to leave me? Is that why?" And I was just.
Is that why what though?
Is that why? I tell you, you're a good interview.
You left me hanging. I don't know.
That was that. I was. Did I? Now I'm gonna play. What did I say? Because I forgot.
She said you taught him how to leave you.
Mm-hmm.
You dropped her off, and then you were thinking to yourself in the car, is that why?
Is that why he doesn't come back home? Is that what does he like Philly and the East Coast family better than the Jackson family? It was blah blah blah. I went on
That's ridiculous.
I went on a tirade to myself in that car because I can't call because nobody else in my immediate family, the uncles and my brothers and sisters, they have children. They don't know, and I was like, wow, did I do that? Because at Papa Jimmy's funeral, when Dre talked about his dad, he said, hey, he was living life. He was doing things, and we always did stuff as a family. There was or maybe you even said it, but you didn't get up and say it. You said it somewhere in another setting, but I remember hearing you say that it was always, they would come and see you, the three of them. And when you're home here, there isn't a nucleus. There isn't a mob of people to see you. It's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting beside myself of wondering, well, they made a better family. They made a better picture of a family, Jamal, his dad, and his grandparents. And by that time, Dad had married. So it was like, wow, boom. But when you come home, it's just me. And our family's not the tightest. And I've never wanted to, well, what was it? How do I want to say that? I was very guarded on my adult relationships. What men who you would see me with, that would have been a family, mom and her boyfriend and me. That's the three of us, and then we go, But when I didn't have that, and then when Mommy and Jerry left, when Mommy and Jerry passed, there was just me. So it was like I was battling, like, damn, did I really teach him to leave me? And that's why I'm.
Can I leave? All right.
Yeah, go ahead. So.
Because this is it is definitely all in your head, that part, because I don't know if y'all remember or if you remember. Yeah, you did teach me to leave, but in a good way. Y'all, in my mind, right? For one, I've been on airplanes since I was like, I don't know,
at least
18 months, two
yes,
years old, something
exactly.
like that. In my mind, it was out of necessity because I needed to have a relationship with my dad.
Right.
And two, now this is in my head. I thought that it was because like once we all found out that being a professional ball player is what I wanted to do,
mm-hmm.
y'all had to groom me to be able to be comfortable with not being at home. That's all part of it.
Exactly.
Like that's how I always thought that was by design. I always thought that was part of the plan because like the plan was, okay, he want to play baseball. My dad was like the go-to person for if you want to do this how you say that you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to do that before. I've chased that before. This is what you're going to face. So I'm gonna do the best that I can to prepare you to be ready for all of these possible pitfalls.
Mm-hmm.
Being homesick, being always on the road, being the new guy in a new city where you've never been, these are all pitfalls in that minefield of trying to go pro
Right.
in something. And part of that is also going away to school. You might go to several schools, because he did, which I also did.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to find yourself in cities where you wake up one day and you be like, how the hell did I end up here? Because you're going to be in the middle of nowhere in these hick towns, which he was, which I did.
Which you did. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna travel to wherever it is that you need to travel to in order to play this game, which he did, which I did.
Gotcha.
And I was able to, and still am able to, be comfortable in situations where you could just drop me in the city and I'm gonna be all right. To me, that was all. To me, y'all did that on purpose. To me, because even you used to say, "Oh, you're not gonna go to school in Missouri."
Right.
You need to go out of state
Out of state, right?
to get the full college experience or
Right.
whatever. Maybe you saying that as a joke. I never thought y'all was
No,
joking.
I was for real.
I never thought y'all was joking. And
Yeah, that was true.
and me getting on planes from 2 years old until now,
It's just in your blood.
I feel like I thought that was part of the master plan. And then now you sit here talking about
It is, and it was for you. I just didn't know the plan of, damn, as the mom of this baseball player, this professional athlete, what's my role? Because I couldn't talk to mommy about it. I didn't know anybody in my generation who had a child who I was grooming. And that you're right, I was grooming you for this. But I was like, but damn, what about you, Barbara? You as a mother. So,
but isn't also this is blowing my mind, because you're the one who is always talking about how, or when I was growing up, always talking about how the parents who are the ones who are worried when their kid leaves the crib are the parents who felt like they didn't give their kid the tools.
and I gave you the tools because
Y'all gave me the tools,
I
but
know.
now it's like, that's weird to me.
Well, I'm just saying, I did it out of necessity. I parented you the way that I wanted you to be independent, which you are. And that's funny because I tell people, they're like, Barb, you should be proud of him. I said, I am. You said, you should be proud of yourself because you raised him to be self-sufficient, independent. I said, yeah, I think I did too good of a job because he doesn't come home and see me. That's just me and my, mama case. He's not seeing me. But that only lasts a certain while. But I do say it, and sometimes it gets at me. And I know. The older I get, I miss you more. Mm-hmm. And that's why parents, and I'm not telling you, but that's why parents want their kids to have grandchildren. So that's the reason to come back home and see. I'm not pushing that on you. But that is another question I have here, though.
Well, wait.
All right.
Since you got that one written down, you ain't going to forget that.
Well, no, I don't. I just had 3 letters to lead into it. The 3 words. Go on.
I think I was just talking to my barber about this, ironically, before I left. Because, he always asks, because it's to the point now where anytime I go into the barbershop, it's usually just because it's the day before I'm about to go somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So anytime I sit in the chair, he's like, where you about to go? Mm-hmm. Or whatever. So, I'm talking about to go to St. Louis. Just going to, see the family and friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we got into a conversation about how he has a son who lives in Maryland. And, and I was telling him, like, I don't get a chance to really go back to St. Louis that much. I try to go at least once a year if I can, you know what I'm saying? But I don't really get a chance to go back that often. And then he kind of started telling me his story of how, because he owns the barbershop.
Okay.
And he was saying how, he could relate because he doesn't get a chance to go see his son in Maryland as much as he would like to, or what have you. And what made it parallel was some people don't understand that, like, I can see from the outside looking in, it looks like I'm going everywhere except for home. But, like, I am an adult. I got rent to pay, I got bills to pay.
Right.
Like, I go places to do this, to create content, to get money.
Right, to bring in some.
Or to film, to get money, to pay rent, to not be homeless,
To eat, right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's not that Jamal don't come home. It's that Jamal is an adult. Jamal got shit to do.
Right.
He can't, like, Jamal's trying to not be poor. And in my plan, literally my plan since starting this platform, 2019 was 2018 to 2019 was like the year of spending all my money, investing in this, trying to build it up, doing everything on my dime, trying to basically beg people to come and sit down and talk to me so that I could create a catalog. But paying for everything out of my own, just paying for everything.
Right, okay.
Not getting paid, just trying to create material.
Okay.
And then near the end of 2019, going into 2020, I was like, I'm not going nowhere unless I can make money there.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not going anywhere unless I can get booked to film there. Or I'm not going nowhere unless I can sit down with somebody, because creating the content in essence is making money. But if I can't do that, I'm not going.
Right. And
Because at the end of the day, like, it's going to cost me to go. It's going to cost me to have a place to stay. And if I'm spending money to go, spending money for a place, but not making no money, what am I doing?
Right.
Because I could be editing at the crib and not spend no money. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have enough money to just... I can't really take no, like, vacation or nothing like that. I don't have money like that. You know what I mean? So I think somewhere when you're thinking, or when you get those... short or however quick or long the thought may be of like, damn, like, how come he don't ever come home and see me? It's not like, at least add in to that equation that he's working, or he's busy, or he's trying to, or maybe he don't got no money and maybe he's trying to get the money to come here.
Right.
Or something like that. Because I am an adult.
Right. And I do that. I do taper my thoughts and, rewind them back and be like, well, Barb, you know what? He's not asking you for any money to send him anything. You're not paying for his rent and feeding him or whatever it is, So he must be doing something right, and he's working. But it's funny. It makes me laugh because I would have never, if I was still working, I probably wouldn't trip off of you not coming. But because I'm retired, and this is my, what was it, 2018? 2018, this is my third year going in retirement, right? This year with...
It's still early. It's still
That's what I'm saying.
It
is. But coronavirus and all this, everything shut down, nothing to do, made me think, damn, what else can I do? And then here it is, Corona, and you flying. I'm like, well, damn, he flying every place else. Why can't he fly here on the Corona? So it made me become a bitch. And I was like, don't become a bitch, Mom. No, don't do that. So I had to pull it back, but it was there. So now that you're telling me, and I knew we were, even though your dad and I didn't talk about it, I knew what you wanted to do as far as baseball. So I was like, well, he's got to learn how to be away and da-da-da-da, But again, I didn't think about myself until I got a little in my feelings, and I might have had a few drinks in me. I don't know, but just whatever. It might have been a Wednesday, whatever. But I'm entitled to have those feelings.
You are, but I also just want you to look at it from multiple perspectives, right? You talked about when I would go see my dad or whatever. They would talk about how it would be me, and then my dad, and then Grandma Shirley, Grandpa Jimmy, and it would all be like, that would be like the trio to support me in whatever I'm doing. But then you were saying you were comparing it to you, where it's like, oh man, like they're the nucleus there, but you're saying like it's only you as the nucleus here. Like, to me, that holds the same weight. Family is family. Like, support system is support system. Just because it's my dad and then his parents, because if you think about it. It was when I was smaller.
When you were smaller, younger, right? You had
Jerry was everywhere,
right? And mommy, right. Jerry and mommy, right?
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not that you. To be completely honest, like you had the first 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty much like on your shoulders. I'm not saying that
But you,
he was not, but what I'm saying is like, as far as in my experience, it was like you had the first 18 in terms of the lion's share of like the ground, like on the first line type of work, like
front line.
for grassroots type of work.
Yeah. That,
You know what I'm saying? But like as I got older, going into manhood, it's just natural
right.
that going into manhood and also going into this, I'm trying to play pro ball.
And he knew it. Yeah.
Why would I go to you on that?
Exactly. Well, I could have given you what the groupies are gonna do. No, never mind. I could have because I was your dad's groupie for a window of time, very small amount of time, and it wasn't yeah. When I came to watch you in Texarkana, was there an opportunity where I could have been there when the cooks came down to watch you?
I mean, was there an opportunity?
Did they come?
It was an opportunity. The season was the whole summer. So
right. No. So could I? Did you tell me that they were coming and I could have matched my travel time to their time so we were all together?
Yeah, sure you could have.
Did you tell me?
You mean, I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, because because when I came down, it was just me in the stands, and I was like, well, I wonder. And again, better communication. I am not good at communicating at all, and it's a wonder. Well, yeah, it's a wonder that I was able to teach so long. I'm not good with communicating on an adult level. I'm used to talking to children. And your father and I,
because a lot of time that's not communication, that's instruction.
Exactly. So I'm pretty good at it. I'm good at instruction. I'm not good at communicating then.
Yeah.
I've gotten better. And perhaps had I brought that up, maybe you would have been able to, or I could have called and said, hey, when you're going down to see Jamal in Texarkana, I'll come down there too. Just so that he has more people cheering for him. Because when I was there, it was just me. And I was like, wow. And it was exciting, but it was just lone me. Way to go, Jamal. Come on. Like, when you were playing Little League. And,
but why was it uncomfortable when I'm 23 and not uncomfortable when I'm 10?
It was uncomfortable when you were 10, and he knew that you were playing.
No. I'm talking because you just said, I was out there alone screaming, yeah, go Jamal. And then you also said, but you were also doing it when I was younger. So, why was it acceptable by you then?
I didn't know all the other. I knew all the parents with the Giants and with the Dragons. I was like the PTA mob, and I got us all together and playing.
Yeah, but you still an army of one in terms of me. So why was that different? See, that's what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm trying to get at is like this is a youth thing. This don't got nothing to, because if you're talking about,
it is about me.
If you ask me how I felt, I ain't never think the job was. I'm just thinking like, oh, my mom's coming down to see me play. Awesome. Oh, this week my dad and my grandparents come and see me play. That's dope. Like, I'm not thinking of like, oh yeah, like I can't wait till my dad comes. I mean, my mom is here. That's cool. Whatever. But I can't wait till it wasn't none of that. I'm just happy both of y'all got a chance to see me play. In my mind, we're all in the same squad. It's sounding like
this is true. We are all on the same squad. We are all in it to win it for you, Jamal. Had I been invited, perhaps when they were down,
Invited by who? By me?
Well, I mean, I didn't know until you told me what your schedule was. That's how I could figure out when to get in there.
Yeah, that's the invitation.
That's what I'm saying.
That ain't it was my responsibility to sync up y'all trips?
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. Circle back. That's where I was a poor communicator. We were poor communicators. As your parents, we could have communicated, hey, let's go watch him play. Or I could have said, hey, I'm going to go down there. I'm being down there by myself. Can we go ahead and match up this trip to see you play? But by then, however old you were when you were playing in Texarkana, because that's the only time I went there, I don't know how far along his relationship was as far as whether he was married or not. But still, I would have had more people to meet with. Because, it was, instead it was you as an athlete and you had to go and do what you had to do with the team. And then I was left, I was like, well, let me figure out, what to do and stuff. I could have had more engagement with other adults. Okay. And happened to be adults that were related to you. So, and go from there. It has nothing to do with cheering you on. And it has nothing to do with cheering you on or supporting you. No. Who's to say I could have had a second chance at maybe being with your father? But anyway, that's not to be on the board here. Let's see. Hold on. I have a question here. So did I? Okay. So you said you couldn't go back to actual example of the sarcasm and the condescending, but did I make you feel unwanted or unloved or uncomfortable in raising you at any time?
No.
Oh, okay.
Unwanted or unloved?
I mean, aside from the parent. Okay.
Uncomfortable? I mean,
uncomfortable?
Of course. Just barbecues. I hate barbecues to this day.
Yeah, and you told me why. Yeah, okay.
Introducing. Kids hate when their parents introduce them to people that they ain't never met in their life.
Right, and it's funny the way it's a comedic act. The way you deliver it, you should go on stage with that. It's hilarious.
No child enjoys that.
Right.
And every parent just insists on continuing to do that.
Right. Well, it happened. We all had to go through it. We all have to go through it. It's something that.
No, we don't. See, that's a black culture fallacy.
So
we don't always have to. We don't have to go through that.
So don't introduce you to your relatives.
If I have a child, if I have a kid, and my friends and all, they know them when they're a little kid, and then my friends don't see them for 16 years. I'm not about to. I don't have to bring my kid around my friends and talk to my kid as if they're gonna know who I'm introducing them to. I don't got to do that. I don't have to do that.
But I heard you say introduce to relatives that they're relatives.
I don't know them, is what I'm saying.
But you need to know. But you have to be introduced. You have to know them.
That's like me introducing you to a complete stranger on the street just because I know them. I ain't gotta introduce you to them. You don't know them. But I don't know what headspace you're in.
But it's a relative that
you meet. So what? They a stranger.
So how? Okay. How? Okay. So you're saying that the stranger part has to be remedied earlier. So what is early enough for you to know that relative?
If you're really around and the kid forms a relationship with him, then they gonna know him because they got a relationship with them.
So family reunions.
Don't like them. That's a big barbecue.
Okay, got you. But you always went. Well, and so you had to go because you're the child. Okay. But you realize how important they are.
Why?
So that you're not fucking your cousin.
That's it?
And they're not molesting you either. You could tell, say, that's Uncle, or that's Auntie Lucy and Jenny over there, and that's Uncle Rufus. And
I don't know. I think that's a weak reason, man. That's the only reason why family reunions are important? Because if I meet somebody, it's a way that I can find out if we accidentally related.
Okay, talk to me. I'm listening.
Social media.
Not everybody's on social media.
Then I already think you weird.
And see, okay. Because we don't have I have been trying to have a Jaxon family reunion or a Lancaster family reunion forever. Because right now, our family, we're like dying off. The Lancaster, stuff happens. So I don't know all of my cousins. But I'm not going to wind up, making any babies with any of them. But still, you want to know who your people, that's what they always say.
You want to know.
No. The culture. Or they make it look like from the movie, what was that, with Tupac and Janet Jackson, and they crashed the
Poetic Justice.
Thank you. Yeah, but they always make it look like, you get together and have this family reunion and playing all the music and stuff like that. And you're supposed to, but the only family reunion I've been to was we went to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And that was on Jerry's side. And that was horrible.
Horrible time.
It was crazy.
Longest drive ever, super hot. I don't know none of y'all.
And I didn't know them either. We didn't know them either. Jerry knew them.
Jerry wasn't even there.
I drove Jerry with me. Jerry went with us.
I don't remember that.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
All right.
It was you, me, Jerry, and Will.
I probably don't remember it because
you had such a bad time on it. Okay. But there's never been one on mom's side of the family, and her mom's side of the family, they're aging out. Like it's the sister or something. But they're aging out, and it's almost like, well, doggone it.
It's great. A family reunion is a big mixer full of people that you can't have sex with. That's a horrible mixture.
Well, no, you can, but they have to be the fourth and fifth and sixth cousin. They can't be first and second.
That's a horrible.
Trust and believe. No, you can. You can have sex with them.
I'm cool.
But it's got to be third and fourth, right?
Cousin is cousin.
Yeah.
But they have the rule though.
No, we don't know.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. See,
Well, that's an old rule.
If you go,
we don't follow that. We don't follow. Yeah.
I understand. I hear what you're saying, but you're not, because there are people who are cousins and they have boinked each other and they got family, and the kid came out about as smart as that camera stand. So that's why you have to be careful. But you're saying cousins are cousins, so it's off limits.
Yeah.
I got you, but how are you going to know if that's your cousin? Social media. But how do you know if they're not on social media? Then they're weird. But that's not the fun
conversation. No.
Go like this.
I feel like you just, huh?
You have fuzz in your beard.
Oh.
There you go. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So anyway, so I was feeling the same way, and this is even before you were born.
That's another thing I'd change. I'm sorry. I would change. That's a critique. I hated being in situations where I'm being paraded around like I'm the Stanley Cup or something like that to people that I don't know. I still don't like that.
Well, that's
because my thing is, especially like even as I got older. Honestly, it sounds funny, but like when you're like, oh, let's go, you got to see this person. Because my thinking is like, if they really want to see me, man, they'll come here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why we got to drive around and show and hey, he's here. If they care, all right, then they'll make the trip.
Yeah, and. Where did you manifest? Sorry for not looking at him, but where did you manifest that?
What?
That thinking. If they really want to see me, is
because it's true.
Because without it sounding too condescending, but it sounds very pro ball. You're a professional, and like if they want to see me, that's what baseball players.
If you know, I'm just saying though, if you know that I'm
going to be,
if you know that I'm coming here and I'm not coming here specifically to see you. You expect me to carve out my time and I'm here for 4 days and you live here? I'm here for 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you don't think that I have stuff to do within this 4 days. But you live here all year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you really, really wanted to see me, then you'll hit me up and be like, yo, like, let's link up. But you want me to carve out time out of my vacation or whatever to come to wherever you are.
Right. But it's okay. So now am I being a... See, I'm taking it personal. So, Barbie, just don't take it personal. Because I could have called a lot of people. Not a lot. I could have told family. The immediate 7. Hey, Jay's going to be in town. He's not staying with me, but he's in town. I got him in town. So, if they want to see you, then I didn't do that. I'm being selfish. Nobody knows that you're here except for maybe 3 other people. I had to look at my finger. I had to look at my hand really to count. And they're not even family, which is so weird. But they know you. Again, they know you.
They know me.
Well, you know them too. They're church members. They're church members. They're church family. And your Aunt Becca knows, but she's in Kansas City. She's not coming anywhere near. So, okay. And I didn't want to carve out your time and tell them where you are because you're an adult. I figure, well, if y'all know he's coming in town, get in touch with him. They have your number. They have all your contact information. So again, they need to grow up, or if they want to catch up with you, they'll find you. Okay. So I felt that way, but okay, that's perfect. So you're okay. Let me ask you this, because I never got a chance to ask you.
Okay.
Were you bullied at McKinney? Because it was, as a teacher, it's fascinating. I felt like I had a blind spot sometimes, and you can tell me differently. But did you ever get bullied when you were in McKinley, Kennard, or Luther North?
No. The only halfway like bully situation I could remember was it was, I think I was in like elementary school, like Kennard or something. It was like it wasn't kids or a kid who even went to our school. It was just like how like all bus stops were just like public or whatever. So it'd be like kids from different schools or whatever just might be catching a bus at the same bus stop.
I remember.
And I remember it was like this one kid was like trying to, it was like, it wasn't, I never ended up getting in a fight. It was nothing ever physical. It was just like
Nuance.
like words.
Okay.
Or it was just, I don't know. But that was like when I was like elementary, maybe like
3rd, 4th grade, over on Warwick and Aldine.
I don't
when
even
Papa
know where
Jerry
that
had to
is.
pick you up.
That was like, no, it was like couples.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, in that, over there.
Yeah.
I remember that. Okay. So,
But I had to be, it probably was like I was in elementary and the kid was probably like in middle school.
was that when Grandpa Jimmy was going to teach you how to hold your hands? And then you went up there that summer?
I
and
don't know about all that. I mean, because they had been doing a boxing thing with me forever.
Okay,
so.
okay, because he came back and you know how he talks and he got out. He said, all you got to do is, it just takes one fight. And I was like, one fight? I'm like, why has it got to go that far? Because as a teacher, I was like, we don't want them fighting. But he's like, no, he's a boy out there. Da, da, da. Okay, so you weren't bullied. And then you said, what was it? I had something. You said it was one time, elementary. It'll come back. Okay. And
how are you? If you have notes, how are you at a loss of words?
Because I want the conversation to lean into the question.
Just ask it.
Okay, so I remember you making the video with somebody, and they were talking about he was down south, I don't know if Atlanta or Alabama, but he had weight issues, and you all were talking about your weight and your working out. And what was his name?
Atlanta Christian, maybe.
Does he have?
He had like the juice.
That's it.
The trap.
There you go. The juicer.
Yeah, Trap and Healthy.
Yes. Yeah. So, did I warp your body image growing up by taking you to the nutritionist? Do you remember going to the nutritionist?
No, and no.
Okay.
No, that was just a sports thing. That was more like a dad and Grandpa Jimmy thing, just in terms of, just them putting the emphasis on like if you do want to play sports at a high level, like you just got to always monitor like your weight and your health, and like your condition.
Yeah.
That was just always a thing.
And
like
so
it was never something where they were like you're fat or you're too big, but it was always like a precaution, like because I guess I think what it was that they recognized was that my body type had the ability to probably put on weight really easily or whatever. So and even when I was younger, like I used to have to play like a couple of ages up, like with football and stuff like that.
Right.
So when they saw that, it was just like, all right, well, we got to have a conversation with them about it, like, because if you're gonna be a good athlete, like you got to be in shape. You can't be fat or you can't be sloppy. It's gonna slow you down. Yeah. And you're not gonna be able to perform at your best. So I got those conversations young. You know what I mean? Which I actually think that it was good.
Because you commented about going to Denver for the baseball camp, and they're talking about your feet.
Yeah.
But that wasn't. And you said that's when bullying was good. That was a good bullying, and I laughed at that, and I was like,
That really wasn't bullying though. That was just more hilarious. But
but
looking back on it, that was just funny.
Right, but the way you framed it, it was bullying in a positive way, where you were able to
Oh well, yeah.
flip
yeah.
it and be like, oh no, that, yeah.
Yeah, they got a point. Yeah,
They
that makes
got-
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact, yeah, because and that's only like you were like 10 or 11. I was like, oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just, I was like, well, wait a minute, did I miss something? Because, again, your experiences and my experiences, was that sarcasm? Duh, they're different because you're a boy and I'm a girl. And then, had I had a daughter, I'm sure I would have keyed in or zoned in on with her and been able to tell her, but I tell her my experiences and how she's got to be ready for that. But that's where I think sometimes I missed. Even though you're a boy, it was a child thing. Childhood is childhood for boys or girls. And then there's gender specific areas of nurturing and growing up and parenting. But you should still know what those are. Now, whether or not I would have given them to you as a child or older on, that could make you an even better parent, which leads me into my next question: is the fear of being a parent? Well, I shouldn't. Well, is your I don't want to have no kids based on either you don't think you could live up to parenting like your parents did, your dad and I did, or you don't think you could parent in this day and age because of all the societal ills? What is that all about?
Well, I mean, first, right? I don't think I haven't made this decision that I, for sure, like don't want to have children.
You say it again?
I have not
Okay.
made the concrete decision that I do not want to have
Okay.
kids.
Okay.
I don't want to have a baby mom. So
Okay.
I'd prefer to, if I'm gonna have a child with somebody, I prefer to be married first. But I feel like so many things have to align the way that I'd prefer them to align for me to have a child or feel comfortable with having a child, that I feel like I'm pretty far away from that or whatever. But it's not like off the table, but my situation is off the table right now because I don't want to have I just don't want to have a kid with somebody who I'm not married to.
Okay.
And then marriage is a whole different thing where I feel like things have to be aligned for that. But to answer your question though, like, I mean, when I think about it, part of it is, having some fears about raising children in this environment. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Raising children in this. It's not so much so like me fearing that I wouldn't be a quality parent, but it's me. I feel like when I was a kid, I felt like, and I might be boasting, but I felt like I was one of the few children who actually listened to a lot of the lessons that my parents tried to teach, as opposed to like, going through it like having to put my hand in the fire and find out myself that it's hot, as opposed to y'all telling me that the fire is hot over there, don't touch it, and I actually just trusted that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't. There's no guarantee that if I were to have a kid, they would be the same way.
True.
So even if you're a quality parent, like there's still a big percentage that's gonna lie on the kid's shoulders, to where they have to actually like receive and apply like what you're teaching them. Or whatever. And because of that, in addition to the environment that kids are in now, is scary, because there's so much stuff out there that is the wrong, in my opinion, is the wrong way, but the results are right. So how do you talk somebody out? How do you talk someone who their brain isn't fully developed yet, how do you make them understand that, yeah, the result is what you want, but the means to that end is horrible. It's not positive. So like, how do you get a kid to understand that? Like, if you know what I mean, like, just to go to.
I don't. I need you to set it up for me. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so like, if you're looking at, say, if I had a son, and my son is on social media, or his friends are on social media, or he just watches TV and he sees rappers, drug dealers, or scammers, people who, you know, steal money or, you know, do like shiesty stuff to get money, or get money illegally or whatever, or athletes, right? He sees those are like the three categories of people who get all of the money, wear all the nice clothes, drive the nice cars, get the prettiest girls.
Okay.
Like, he sees the result. He sees like the perks of that. But if he's seeing, you know, people flashing money or disrespecting people or robbing people or scamming people or stealing or doing something illegal in order to get, he sees them doing the negative thing, but he sees the positive result in it. How am I supposed to sit here and talk him out of doing the negative thing? Because he like, well, if I ain't doing the negative thing, how am I gonna get the positive result?
Right. How am I?
And I could explain to him with my words how to get the positive result. But if I don't got nothing tangible to show him, if I don't got it, and I'm doing it, like if I'm doing the right thing, but I don't got all of the stuff that the dudes who are doing the wrong thing have,
right.
what you gonna listen to me for? And and like same thing, like if I were to have a daughter, and like all of the highly educated, intelligent, not showing a lot of my body girls don't have anything to show for it. They're not getting the high profile dudes.
Right.
They're not getting the dudes with the money. They don't have no big house or drive no fancy car or had the most likes or the most hard eye comments or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's gonna motivate her to stay on the straight and narrow that I'm trying to preach? Cause like to them, the straight and narrow ain't popping.
Okay. So how did?
Forget it. It's all good.
So how? You're right. You did listen to us.
Can you
Obviously.
turn this light on? The middle.
The switch.
On the switch.
The wall.
On the wall. There you go.
You did listen. You are the better child, or you did listen, and you are you're a good kid. I don't remember having any real issues with you, which is you had issues with me. But you were a good kid. So what was it that made you always follow our lead? It
was baseball.
That was the carrot. That was the hook.
Yeah,
Okay.
It
Okay.
was baseball.
So,
I had a focus.
So then, okay, and again, I'm not trying to push you to have children, but if that's what we did and it worked for you because you had that focus, that's what you do to your kids.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
who's
what
to say what their focus is going to be? Or
Well,
if
we didn't know
some kids don't have a focus.
We didn't know. You didn't have a focus until you had it.
I was 6.
You didn't have a focus until you had it, and when you had it, we just crept on it.
Yeah, but I'm okay. But
So
what
that's
about? But some kids, and this is all hypothetical,
Right.
but some kids don't figure out what they want to do until they're in high school.
But that's fine. That's why parents have to have jobs or have money. So that if you don't want to do the baseball, if you don't want to do gymnastics, if you don't want to do the piano playing, they're spending money trying to find and help the child hook into something. That's where
I get
raising
that,
kids is expensive.
but I'm just saying that's what makes it scary. Because who's to say if I have a son or a daughter that they gonna get it at 6? This is what I want to do. So what I'm saying is the longer that it takes for somebody to find out what they really want to do, the bigger the margin is for them to be thrown off track.
But okay, that's true. The societal ills of today, they are I'm glad I can't get pregnant right now. That's not true. But anyway, I'm glad I don't have children right now.
Okay.
But I just want you to know that back then in 1984, I was afraid of what was going on in society then. That was crack. Mm-hmm. That was the crack cocaine, and like the last episode, I dated a crack dealer. Okay, or crack. Right, yeah. Okay. So I was don't go in, but I was afraid of that. So you can't without me.
Wait, did you say dealer or user? Because on the last one you said user, not dealer.
How many days a week are there?
Okay.
All right. So can we stop? I gotta use the bathroom.
All right. Really? We can wrap it up though. I mean, we could. Can you hold it for like 10 minutes?
I've been holding it since. No. Well, I do want to finish that statement though. Okay, because I'm. Yeah, I was afraid to have you back in '84. So whether you have a child in 2022, 24, or 2036, whatever, it's always going to be something going on in the world that's going to make the woman who's holding the child and the father whose seed it is that just worry. And there's never the right time, or there's always, the time is never perfect. So, again, I don't want you to push heaven. I'm not ready for be a grandmama, okay? But don't let that totally monopolize and dictate your path, okay? Because, and you want children? Well, you haven't decided. You're not sure.
It's not, the door's not closed, but I'm not like, I wouldn't say that I want children, but I'm not opposed to it.
Okay. And you know, where I work, I'm an attendant at a laundromat, right? There's this man that comes in, he's 66 years old, black man. He's got a basket full of baby clothes. 66.
That might be his grandson.
No, it's not. We already know who the baby is in the laundromat. It's like gossip.
Oh.
He's the father. So men can shoot their mustard all the time.
Shoot their mustard.
That seed, the mustard seed. That's what I meant.
That's gross.
Okay, no, the men can shoot their seed. Because, you know, mustard seed is real small, but it grows up. Okay.
I got it.
So a man can shoot his seed all the time.
Okay.
It's the girl, it's the female, it's the woman who has a clock.
Right.
So, you know, you can have children as long as you're going to mate with somebody who is still in that window of fertility.
Right.
But then again, why do you want your child or do you want a child? Because you can always adopt. But that's a whole nother bag. But it's still.
I can't see myself adopting them.
Even if it was a baby that was new that hadn't had any imprint on it at all.
I don't think I could. I don't think I'm for that.
Okay.
Because I think if I were to have a child, you know, I would want to see me, you know, in my child.
In your child, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Genetically, I mean. Like,
yeah, I got you.
You know, personality-wise. Like, things that are just inherited. Like, I think that is part of that would be part of, like,
that's the dopeness.
The joy of you know, creating another person.
I got you. I got you.
And then, and then like the project, it would be the life's project would be to, you know, see if I could propel them to be like a better person than me, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like, so yeah, I think there would always be like an empty space there if
that were the case.
If it was adoption, yeah.
Okay.
You can use the bathroom now, and then we could come back on the last question.
It's not a family reunion, but it is our Jaxon family conference call that I'd like to at least let them know that you're in town and they're going to talk to you over the phone. Now, whether or not we broadcast it, I just tell them, hey, look, I'm in town. Hey, I got you're my surprise guest. It doesn't have to be on the tape, but I just want you to say hello to whoever is on the phone call, please, because you never call in. I don't. Hey, Talia. Does this chair have wheels on it? Like, can I push back?
No.
Get on the call.
Huh?
Why you gonna get on the call?
I guess I get on it now. That way I can get off real quick.
Exactly.
Is it today?
Right now, 7 o'clock. I gotta
Oh,
get back.
shit.
Jesus.
7 o'clock every third Sunday of the month.
Jesus
We
Christ.
have one.
Oh, let's see, what's the moderator code?
That was boy.
Hey, everybody. Who's on the line? So it's just the three of us? So okay, I've got a special guest, but I brought a special guest on, but okay. Go ahead.
It's just Jamal. I'm not a special. I'm not
Yes,
a
you-
special guest.
Yes, you are a special.
I'm not a. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, really?
That. I don't,
Okay,
that's-
Jamal. Okay, well, I got Jamal's in town, and I'm down here filming and taping with his program. Yes, he's interviewing me for one of his podcasts. For his podcast. No, we're on a commercial. He's taping it right now, and he's cut the mics off.
They're
right?
not off.
Oh, the mics are not off, so we're live, but he'll edit this out probably. Maybe not.
What?
You guys go ahead and talk about that, and I'll get back with you because I need to finish this taping before I got to finish this taping. So, love talking with you guys. You guys can say bye.
Later.
Okay. Yeah,
That's what I always say.
but not with. Okay. Anyway, thank you for indulging me for that.
No problem.
Want to say you want love you.
You gotta scoot back up. All right, and we're back again. Jesus Christ.
Did you?
Um,
Okay.
What did you have any? You had any other questions or anything like that?
I do. So, have you been around? Have you been around families, or do you know of families where they are single parent households, and usually I see this on television where the mother will bad talk the child, like on Trey and Ricky and Ice Cube.
Boys in the Hood?
Thank you, Boys in the Hood. And she goes, you da da da, you just like your daddy, da da da. And she talked all bad about her father to the boy. So my question is, because I made sure, and I made sure not to let anybody bad talk your dad, because they didn't know him. I knew your dad. But I didn't know because, my question is, did your father's side of the family talk down of me in your presence the way Grandpa Jimmy did when I came for Grandma Shirley's, and he said that dig at me about me looking like a boy. And outside of that, but
Well, I don't think that was a dig. I don't think it was an insult. I don't think he was intending to insult. I think he was commenting on how you were dressed. I do think that you were offended by it, and then what happened after was, I think actually my dad had to kind of check him on that, where he was basically saying, he basically had to explain to him how it could have been taken as an insult.
and
But he didn't. I don't, because I was there and I heard that, and the way that Grandpa Jimmy talks, and the way that he used to actually talk about you, like that, that wasn't an insult.
So let's circle back. How did he talk about me?
Highly.
Okay. Because I talked to him about that, and that hurt because I was bullied as a child. And that was one of the triggers. And so when he said it, I had to respect his eldership. But I could have talked to him adult to adult, adult to adult, but I never.
What does that mean? Because you just said that you did have a conversation with him.
After the fact, not there, but we got on the phone and talked.
That's still adult to.
I know, but I could have talked to him. I would have gone on and said, "Man, fuck, excuse me."
Well, that's not
adult. I could have gone off on him.
Okay.
And disrespected him because it triggered me being bullied back in my youth. But I never carried myself or presented myself like that in front of you to your grandparents on my side or your dad's side. But his cousins, I never, I was the one, I knew I was the one who took your dad's. Grandpa Jimmy had what you wanted your dad to be, a baseball player, and his mom, Grandma Shirley, they wanted him to be a professional ball player. And me getting pregnant was like, the rails have gone off the track. And you're the reason for our son not doing such and such and da-da-da. So I knew, I knew that in my head. It had never been said to me, but I could kind of get nuances and, some behavior, some treatment, And so I had to walk that very carefully. So when he said that to me, and I was like, well, man, I did all my best to tell him my family, don't say anything about Jamal's dad. If you got something to tell about Jamal's dad, say it to me. Don't tell Jamal, don't bring it. It's not, he has nothing to do with who his parents are. But we have everything to do with who our son is. And so, and I guess in my wearing those big panties, they listened to me, and it never happened, to my knowledge. Did our family ever diss your dad?
Not that I remember.
Okay, so yeah, but I was just curious because I was the outsider, and all of his family, your dad's family's here. A lot of them are here, and recently.
We're all outsiders.
One more time.
You said you were the outsider. Of course, you were an outsider to their family.
Right.
He was an outsider to my family.
Exactly. Because recently, Shell, we touched bases when Grandpa Jimmy passed, and we kind of have a little bit of engagement texting back and forth, and she asked me a question. And so I just, we had our adult conversation. I'm sorry, I can't divulge that, of course. But we had our adult conversation pertaining to being parents to you. And me being the mother, the other woman, so to speak, as opposed to Grandma Shirley, but I was her son's baby's mama, so to speak. But I hate that statement. But, yeah, that's his mother. So I was just curious, because that triggered me, and y'all laughed, and you all thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny at all.
Well,
but it was funny because it was Grandpa Jimmy, and it came out, and that's the way he is.
No, it was. Well, to me, I don't know how it made my dad feel, but to me, it was. I've had a lot of conversations with him, so I know when he has his comedian hat on. Mm-hmm. I know when he has his compassionate grandfather hat on. And he had gotten more compassionate over as he got older.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my opinion.
Right, because he wasn't always compassionate to me.
And that's how I know that that's how I know that it wasn't an insult, because of the tone in his voice.
Okay.
He wasn't cracking a joke. He
right.
was to me he was actually taken aback because you never looked like that in front of him. That's how I took it. He was shocked. He was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was you, because you look like a boy, like the way that you're dressed right now." Mm-hmm. Meaning, in context, is you usually never look like this.
Right.
That's how I heard it.
Right.
But
okay.
I also laughed because it was one of them things that just damn, old people just say anything, huh? Because it didn't. Uh-huh. He didn't, and that's what I'm saying. But he didn't filter because he didn't think that it was an insult.
Gotcha.
Is how I heard it.
Right, and so and whether or not you didn't talk to him about it, but his dad did, right?
Yeah.
And I talked with him after he left St. Louis, and I got him on the phone, and we talked, and
he talked to me about it. He talked to me about it. He
afterwards.
Yeah, he was super apologetic about it to me.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So and that's again just how I know and then how our relationship was I just knowing him for my entire life. Mm-hmm. When we would always have conversations at the kitchen table and all that. That's how I can know what mode he's in. When he's in comedian mode, mm-hmm. when he's in kill whitey mode, when he's in militant mode, versus when he's in like loving and compassionate mode.
Gotcha.
And that the tone that he said that in, it wasn't malicious at all in intent. It wasn't
Right,
malicious.
and I realized that when I heard what he said, I took it in. And I took it, I took in a deep breath to just focus. Okay, well, and just kind of laugh along with you. Goes, oh, okay, yeah, hey, how's it going? But I knew in my mind, I need to let him know, because he didn't know. He didn't know that I had been bullied, and that was a crux of a problem. So,
but to answer your original question, he always, to me, like they all both Grandma Shirley and Grandpa Jimmy, they really spoke highly of you. I mean, that maybe it took some years, or maybe the conversations were had with me in regards to you as opposed to you or with you. Mm-hmm. But every time that they spoke about, I think they spoke highly of you because they also thought highly of my dad and you, or my dad and me. So how could they think highly of me if they don't think highly of the two people who created me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So like when I had conversations with him specifically, he always talked about how you were a good athlete. He always talked about how, you're like a strong woman. He always talked about how you were a good mom. He always talked about like the time. He always talked about how he swore he could beat you in a race.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but we never got the race.
And he always talked about how you were faster than my dad or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's really all of the conversations that I ever got from them about you. It was never anything negative, to be honest.
That's cool. Yeah, he came to my graduation in college, and Jerry didn't. But that's a whole nother episode too. But I put it out there, didn't I? Edit that out.
But to answer your original question, why didn't I? What's your question? Why didn't I say anything about my dad, or what did I have to critique about?
What dad? Was the question? Critique and change about your dad. What would have been that feedback?
It probably would have been like, I would have loved to see what it would have been like if he was there, like full time. Because the time that I spent with them, I felt like it was all positive. Mm-hmm. For the most part, you know what I'm saying. But I think you also have to consider with a bigger, what's the word I'm looking for? With like a larger sample size, naturally you're gonna
parenting.
Yeah, with a larger sample size, you're gonna have more opportunities to be critiqued, which is why you were the first one to come to mind because I had more experiences with you. You get what I'm saying? A smaller sample size, you have a smaller opportunity of making mistakes. Mm-hmm. Larger sample size, you have a whole bunch of time to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, I actually, when I look back at the episode, I actually thought it was really paying you a compliment because.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying because you're the first parent to come to mind when I'm sitting down, seriously thinking about, how could I have been raised differently? The fact that my mind automatically just goes to mom, I'm thinking that that's a good thing. You know what I mean? And it was But with dad though, I think, yeah, I think the change would be, I'm curious to know like what it would have been like if he was there like every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like because the times that I was there, you know, we worked out a lot. We worked out hard. We when you look back and you think about it, like the lessons and the practices and the the lectures and like just our conversations and talks and stuff like that, and like our movie nights and dinner and just talking, him telling me stories, like it was great, but it was all compacted into like a small amount of time.
Right. Okay.
But within that small amount of time, like I'm looking at it as like I was able to be as good as I was and go as far as I went with just him, with just like a few months out of the year every year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like how good could I have, how much better could I have been, or how much further could I have gone if like we take that small time and put it into like every single day.
Mm-hmm. Do you fault us as parents for not making that nucleus?
No, because the nucleus was the nucleus that was
But
what I had. But I'm saying like,
but if he were here, if we were together, whether it be here in St. Louis or Philly or wherever, if it was dad, mom, and Jamal together 100% of the time, and if this is all shoulda, woulda, coulda, or ifs and things, but do you fault in any of your attempts of your professional ball? Did you ever think, man, why don't my parents get together and that way I could have gone further? Has that ever?
nah.
No.
Because I always thought I was good enough anyway.
Okay.
So I wasn't, and I'm thinking like when you talking about like sports and all that, like, I mean, you can really only do what you can do like while you're in the moment.
Right.
So I wasn't thinking like no, I was never thinking like while I'm chasing something or chasing the dream, like, oh man, if my dad was under the same roof.
But you just said that was a critique or a change.
But at 36.
Okay, got you. So, but you didn't just think of these questions at 36. These questions came probably between you've been formulating these questions, right?
I thought of those questions like 30 minutes before I did the episode.
All right, got you. I thought they had been like something.
No, it's not nothing that's festering. I mean, because we talked about where the questions derive from. They didn't really derive from my personal life. But I'm never gonna ask a question that I'm not gonna answer.
Answer towards your personal life. Okay.
Yeah.
Number two. I know as a parent, I didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good job with giving compliments. I can complain and correct and tell you what you didn't do correctly. But I've never been able to give compliments to you as my child or to people, period. And as a teacher to students or to peers, because I don't remember getting compliments. And if you don't know something, then you don't know how to offer it. And
that's not always true though.
Well, let me finish. Right. If you don't, let me say. Okay, well maybe I let the bullying. It goes back to that. I let the bullying crowd out. If I did hear any positives coming my way, I questioned them because the bullying was the first imprint that stuck. And the bullying didn't just come from, bullying was great. The bullying came from in the family and outside the family. And that's my story, but I don't know if any of my siblings had that same situation. And again, that's something that we could talk about on the phone or we should talk about in our family gatherings or whatever. But so I realized, and I figured that out. What am I? I guess I figured that out probably 20 years ago, which is really in the height of that's like when how old you are,
16?
36, no.
Well, 20 years ago, I'm saying.
20 girls for me.
I would have still been 16.
Got you, and I was okay. I still would have been 36. Okay, right. So, but I realized, like, dang, because people giving you compliments, and you have to remember to just say thank you. Not gush all over just because when you don't accept somebody else's compliment, you're hurting their expression that they have built up in them to even say that about you, or and just say thank you is enough. And I hadn't perfected that. I hadn't heard compliments. I hadn't given compliments, or I didn't offer them easily. And it's I wish if I didn't teach you that, you're good at it now, because I hear you giving compliments and you take them. But it's like, I wish I could have been like you when I was your age or when I grew up. So if
I actually don't take compliments. I actually don't. I have to. It's hard for me to receive compliments sometimes. Like, but I do. I've coached myself into just saying thank you, like without thinking that it's like a joke, or thinking that like they're just like it's not genuine,
right. I got
or
you.
whatever. But I don't. For me, it never came from like a bullying standpoint. For me, it just always comes from, I'm the person who always thinks that I could do better, or be better, or do more and stuff like that. So like I try not to pat myself on the back too much, because it irks me to see when people pat themselves on the back. Like, that is something that gets under my skin, because it's like, I don't know, like when I see people like bigging themselves up, it just makes me like give it an eye roll, and I don't ever want to be that person.
Well, that's how they big themselves up. You have to big yourself up the way that Jamal Jackson can big himself up. You have to that's part of your self-awareness and self-care. Because if you can't tell yourself something positive about yourself, and I hear a lot of that on the podcast, you've got to love yourself first. And when I listen to the podcast and I hear you kind of down, I don't want to say downing yourself, but doubting, but you don't big yourself up. It gets me it gets me, because I'm like, you're not all that in a bag of chips, but you are who you are, what you've created yourself to be. You've put all this time into yourself, and I was half of that half of that building. So you are you it's almost like, look, Mom, no hands. Look, Mom, this is me. So your dad and I had something to do with you, but now you have taken the reins and you're doing it yourself. You've been doing it yourself. So you need to champion yourself.
Well, to me, I mean, I get what you're saying, but like, to me, like, the championing myself is like it's in the work itself.
Okay.
So like, that's why I roll at people who like if you doing what you say you doing, we see it. We'll see it. You don't gotta do it. You don't gotta say that. I mean, that's just me. That's
right.
Just how I am.
But when somebody says, "Hey, it was a good episode," or "It was a good questions," or "There was some dope merch," you make sure to say, "I hear you say it." You say, "I appreciate it. Thank you." Yeah, okay. But when the crowd is gone, the lights are off, and you look in the mirror, you could still say, "Yeah, you did that, Jax."
I mean, well,
if you don't do that, you should.
It depends. Sometimes I do. When I look in the mirror, sometimes I will be like, man, we killed that. I did a good job. And then sometimes, like, it's some things that I could have done better.
Okay, that's fine. You can do that, but don't make it lopsided like I did.
Well, I'm not gonna make it lopsided. It's either lopsided or it's not. And I'm realistic enough to say, like, if I made more mistakes than I did accomplishments, that ain't lopsided. That's what happened.
Right, and that's work. That's from working
hard. I'm not gonna look in the mirror and be like, oh yeah, you killed it when you didn't. I'm not ever gonna do that, because you only cheating yourself.
True.
If I really did something that's really, really good, I can look at myself and I'll say, man, I did that really, really well. I don't think nobody's better than what I just did right there. You'll never hear me say that publicly, but I can say that to myself. But then at the same time, if I was like, man, I slacked on that. I messed up right there, or I could improve on X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. If it's more improvements that need to be made, I'm gonna say that to myself too. I'm just never gonna falsely pat myself on the back because that don't help.
Right. No, and it won't be okay. I understand not being false, but don't. This is not gonna be grammatically correct, but you're not dating me. But don't not give yourself a thumbs up or love yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And
but see, what I'm saying, it's fun. It's ironic to me that people think some people think that if you're always critiquing yourself, that you don't love yourself. That's not what that means.
I didn't. Okay.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you think that.
But
just the statement makes me come to that conclusion, because some people do believe all he do is talk about how he can get better. He gotta love himself more. I love myself because I'm trying to get better all the time. See, but people, as opposed to people always patting themselves on the back, but then you don't never really, you're not getting better or nothing because you think that everything that you do is pat on the back worthy. So why you gotta spend time on improving if you so steady patting? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that gets mistaken for, that person really loves themselves. Yeah, but that person don't work on themselves though, because they're so busy loving who they are currently. And I'm trying to be better than, I want this episode to be better than the last one we did, and it's gonna be some mistakes made in this episode. I should have turned the camera, because the camera has been off for 15 minutes.
It's been off?
Yeah, I should have turned it off when we did the conference call. But I didn't. So that's a mistake.
Gotcha.
So even though people might really enjoy this episode, because this part is just going to be audio. So even if people are going to enjoy this, to me, when I look back at this or when I edit this, I'm going to be pissed. Because it's damn, I should have got up and I should have stopped it when we was on it, because I didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So even though if everybody loves our conversation, I'm listening to it with a different ear.
And you're a Libra, and I'm a Virgo, and Virgo's sign is perfection. But I think you creeping into my space. You got my Virgo tendency, which is, and it's okay, because Virgos we're perfectionists, and when I listen and hear you on your program, and I think, and to answer that question, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna say, because even before you said sarcasm and condescending, I was like, he's probably going to say something like he's always working for perfection, striving for perfection. And then you didn't. You came off with what you said. Because I see that in me. I'm always do it over. Keep going. Fix it. And, but okay. But now that I hear you saying it, you're telling it to me, I am putting myself in your shoes, and I understand your lens that you're looking at it from, or that you're attacking it, because again, it's sports related. It's kind of an athlete, and I'm a micro athlete compared to you, but it's an athletic or sports vibe that athletes have, that you have got, and it's powering you. It's what fuels you to do what you do, and you do a damn good job of it too. This is fascinating.
Thank you. That's sarcasm.
I was gonna, and I laughed, and I was like, Barbara, is that condescending that you're laughing at him? Or you're welcome, son.
No,
you're welcome. I don't know if it's the amount of alcohol that I've had, or
you like Travis on here.
No.
I'm
with that statement?
No, with being drunk every time he.
I'm not drunk though.
I'm kidding.
That was okay. I don't know, but this one I felt better at this one. I felt more in control. Janet Jackson. But I felt more in control because I went to some areas that I thought I was gonna, and I did, but I didn't. I pulled it together. So I like this one.
I also think this is my opinion, that's a sign that you don't talk about this stuff enough.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
So,
I don't. To whom should I talk about it to?
whoever.
Because I talked about it to the therapist, but to me, I looked at it like they're just a sounding board. They don't really know. I wasn't able to map out the wins and the why fors to make them understand why I felt that way, and they gave me homework to do, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, like a student didn't like a teacher giving homework, and here I am, a teacher giving kids homework. And I overanalyzed the therapist session, and I went there, but it didn't.
You sound like a kid saying, "Well, I mean, I went to class. I don't know
Exactly. I know. Exactly. I know. I hear what you. I know. I sound like that, but it's fun. But I went to the therapist and I talked, and it didn't get better.
How many times you go?
I did the whole session, with the insurance paid for or whatever.
How many times?
But I think that might have been 8 or 10 times. Oh. I went the whole.
I've heard it takes a while though. I've heard it takes a while because it takes until you believe that it's going to
exactly
work or help.
Well, and right, and that's with anything. I went to the chiropractor for my back. I've been that's a whole nother. But I've been to all of my specialists for different issues that I have in my 56 years, and I've done the whole gamut. And I try to stay positive because the mind is the muscle. It's the mind. Mentally, if you're not there mentally, then everything else is not going to fall in line. And I go to those therapies without any, inducers. And I've tried. And maybe this is my therapy. Talking to my son.
I mean, it could be. I think it. I think like everything else, it takes practice. So like when I say like when you don't talk about it enough, what I mean is maybe you don't talk transparently about whatever it might be enough. Not necessarily the person you're talking to, but just like for instance, like I feel like it's easy for me to get on here, whether he's even on mics or on camera or off. It's easy for me to be open because I practice at it, because I do it a lot. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like being super transparent and open is only tough because you don't do it.
Do it enough.
Just like anything else would be. Like if you give me a math equation, I ain't done math since high school or college or whatever, so it'll be tough because I'm gonna practice. But I'm doing it every day, and it's more familiar, and I recognize it, and it doesn't feel awkward or feel weird, then I'll pick it up.
Right.
It's not gonna be that difficult. So I think like maybe, and that's honestly not just with you. That's just with people in general. Like I don't think people practice openness or transparency or, in a lot of cases, just honesty with themselves. Like people don't practice it enough, so it feels weird.
Right, being vulnerable is
easy
scary.
if you do it. It's easy if you
it's
do
easy,
it.
Right? And I can say this is 20. I've been vulnerable a couple of times. It's fascinating because it's a good one. So vulnerability synonymous with transparency, even though they're two different words. They got different definitions, but. Because some people want you to be vulnerable, and they commend you on your vulnerability, on your transparency, but they don't reciprocate. So how
well, vulnerability it's not really a that guy or that girl issue. It's a you issue. Me being vulnerable with you don't got nothing to do with you. Because if I'm able to be vulnerable or transparent with you, and you don't receive it, I was still vulnerable. I was still transparent.
Right.
And it's my decision on whether or not I want to continue to keep doing that. Like, you don't stop my vulnerability. You don't stop my transparency.
No, that's true. But your comfort in being vulnerable or transparent. It's cool because I have it. I yearn, and I have a yearning to be transparent, but I waited. That's what it is. That's the bottom line. I could be transparent with you in increments at a certain age. And when you left to go to college, when you went away to school, you didn't leave me. I sent you away, but anyway, when you went to college, me being transparent with you stopped, and that was my fault. I should have kept it going just like it had been when you were under the roof with me. We were together, and it wouldn't feel so, or I wouldn't feel so left out or isolated, or felt like I wasn't there, and like I yearned for you to come back, and we try to pick up where you were 28. I can't get those years back of when you went to college to when you were playing ball and I saw you, and because you and I both know our communication pattern. And it's been my New Year's Eve, my New Year's resolution to just improve our communication frequency or level. That was something that I put on my New Year's list because I was missing that connection with you. And the fuzz is on your beard again. It's just bothering.
The camera's not on.
Okay, so if the camera's not, I can come over and go like this and get it off your face.
Oh, that's disgusting.
So, but yeah, vulnerable. Okay, let's see. Fault us, compliments, and and you laughed the bully. Excuse me. Did your father? You said no. Yeah. I reserve. Okay, here we go. About a year. You know how when you went to go visit, your dad, and you come back home. Were you waiting on me, or would you? I reserved the right, and I never asked questions of like how the visit was and what did you do and da 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 da. I didn't go into all that, and like, would you have offered that? Say, oh, Mom, I did this and I did this. I mean, did you feel some kind of way because I didn't ask how the visit was?
No. This is all so weird to me because I don't feel a way about none of this.
Would it have?
I feel
Yeah.
I really I feel like y'all did a really great job.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I don't. It's kind of puzzling to me that you have all of these like, oh man, was I a good parent? Like thoughts.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like every time on record, like on podcasts and stuff, like when I talk about my parents, like I feel like I don't never give y'all like bad grades or anything like that.
Except
and
for
then
this last one with the condescending.
It wasn't a bad.
The
question was posed. What would you change?
What would you change? Right. Okay.
So any like.
So if it wasn't okay, so let's circle back real quick, and I know I cut you off. So you would take the sarcasm out, or the condescending sarcasm out, and what would you insert?
I don't know.
More of something, or that you saw other parents, other families doing?
No, not really. Like I don't. I mean, looking back at my childhood, I don't really think I felt like I missed much or like really. I mean, besides like, oh man, I wish you had like more money or something like that. But as far as like actual like parenting stuff, like intangible type of stuff, Nah, I think all bases were pretty covered. To be honest with you.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
pat myself on
and that's what I said. Like I feel like I say that all the time. Like every time, like because if you think about it, right? Like why do you think that people are always like, oh man, I want to meet your mom. Like, oh man, like your mom is like your mom's so cool or your mom's so great. Like the thought comes from them listening to how I talk about y'all.
But okay, well, the first time I heard you say that, you were working in Philly, and it might have been the job with Chessmore or Cheesemore or something where you and C worked together, and you said that.
Philidor, the pharmacy.
Okay, I didn't know. I just knew. Okay.
Yeah.
And you said, yeah, they always want to ask me. They want to meet your mom. Were those older women who worked there, or younger women, your peers, or were they old? And I
it was
like,
both. I mean, at that job, it was older. It was people my age, people younger, people older. So it would just probably depend on who I was sitting next to.
but the females, older, younger, same age, were the ones asking you, or were those women who were asking you, I wonder if I can meet your mom, were they older, younger, or your peers? That's what I'm asking.
I'm saying all of the above.
All of the
Because
above, really?
the people
Okay.
who worked there, it was people who were younger than me, my age, and then people who were older than me. We were all like in the same sections, depending on what what shift you was working. Like you was next to everybody.
Okay.
Or whatever. And then we always just used to talk like in the road. So depending on what stories we were telling, would prompt people to.
So what story would you tell?
It'll probably be the punishment stories most of the time.
Okay, so okay.
Punishment stories,
Yeah.
but it would be in conjunction with like the punishment stories. In addition to them seeing like how I was as a person, though. So it was almost like. It was almost like, well, she must have known, or that those techniques must have worked because they're feeling like, because you seem like you're a pretty good person, like now as an adult. So it's like they're comparing me, the finished product of me, they're comparing that to how I was raised. And now when I tell stories of certain compartments or segments of how I was raised, it makes them like connect the dots and be like, oh, well, it must have worked, or it must have worked out well, or she must have known what she was doing, or, stuff like that.
So there's a question I have, and I'm trying to formulate it, but I'm going to keep eyes on you instead of looking up in the sky like I got on you about. What? Let's see how I formulate it. Do you like yourself? Do you think so we've gone over this before. So you like yourself, you weren't traumatized by any of our parenting, your dad or myself?
Nah, I wouldn't say I was traumatized. No, I had a lot of memories, I'll say that. But not like traumatic.
Nothing.
No.
Well, I was gonna say nothing that's therapy worthy, but you don't have to be traumatized to have to go to therapy. You can just go to therapy because you just want to make sure all your nuts and bolts are tight.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I have any like childhood trauma though.
And I asked you before to make sure none of the coaches ever mess with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nah.
It's kind of late now, but at the same time, I never thought. I don't know, because I didn't play football, but I didn't realize that you were standing in a gymnasium weighing in naked. Like
Yeah.
And I wish Philip or David would have told me, not David, but Philip would have told me, because he played football. But I had no idea. And then I'm thinking, where are the mothers? There might have been a few mothers, but there were.
Nah, because they wouldn't.
It was all men. They wouldn't let them. They wouldn't.
They don't allow. They wouldn't. That was a no parents allowed in that space.
And that's why the coaches at Penn State got away with that shit. Perhaps. It's weird. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because, full disclosure, and for all the parents that are listening now that have sons, make sure when your boys go away to camp, you wash their laundry when they bring it home, and you check to make sure.
Make sure what?
That there's no blood in the fucking panties.
Oh, Lord.
Because the coaches have done something to them. And who's to say the kids know better or not to hide the underwear where there's going to be proof? Just like a girl goes away a girl goes camping, or a girl goes overnight to some friend's house and the friend has brothers. I mean, and it sounds, oh man, Mom, no, it's not gonna happen. Yes, it does happen. So that's why, and it's fascinating because when you went to Denver and I couldn't go, and I was like, well, and Jerry didn't want you to go to Japan. I was ready to send you to Japan. You know, and Jerry was like, something happened with Japan. I think it was another COVID back then. But Denver, he was like, oh, you really want the boy to go that far? I was like, stop, whatever. And I should have asked your dad about it. I didn't even, I could have done a better job at perhaps involving your father in being the parent, not being the parent, but being a more active parent as opposed to compartmentalizing him Christmas and summers and yada, yada, yada. But I didn't know better. Although I saw my mom and my dad in the house, but they were married, and I knew your dad and I weren't married. But had I at least given him the space to give me some feedback, because I'm sure he went to camps as a child, but I wasn't thinking there, and it wasn't me trying to be arrogant. Oh, I got this. I can raise him. I know what to do. No, I just. That's going to be something I'm going to put in my journal tonight. I don't know. So, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can't tell you to just, like, forget about it, but it's just kind of, there's nothing that you can do.
No, right. I can't do it at this juncture. Right, I can't. And I'm going to stop worrying about it. But it was there. It has been there, and it's been under some layers. But when I talk to you and I feel the emotions coming up, it's coming out. But as soon as I get it out, then I won't worry about it anymore, which is like you said, you got to talk about it more to feel comfortable with being transparent. And I don't have anybody to talk about you to except you. Because nobody else has children your age or a boy. That are my peers. That's what I'm saying. So.
But I'm also, I'm telling you that, like, I'm good. Like, I'm all right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, I know that's not going to make you just automatically stop reassessing yourself, but I feel like self-assessment is only good when you kind of have the opportunity to, like, do it better the next time. Like, I'll never be able to go back to being 12 again. You know what I'm saying? So like there's really no next time. It's just from now on.
Yeah. Just like, excuse me, the warning track power, your book, in that chapter. I was like, dang. Why not? I was like, why didn't I know this when it was happening? But, I suppose, and I wrote it off, like, when I was reading, I was like, well, maybe he talked to his dad. But this is written here in such and such a year, and this happened back when he was in college, so I guess he had somebody to talk to, and I felt some kind of way that you didn't lean on me, but what could it was weird. I was just, but you're here now. And I've checked your wrists, so I know it's not that serious. And and we're good. It's good. It's good now. So I'm still a parent. I'm a parent of an adult.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Can I borrow some money?
I don't got no money. When I get some, though, when I get these people to sign up to Patreon, man, you know what I'm saying? I get some money, I'll have something to give.
That's warm. Okay. All right.
But yeah, man, we spoken long enough. This last 30 minutes is just gonna be a black screen on audio and everything like that. So, but
how does that happen? That's because you turned it off because the battery went dead?
I didn't turn it off. It probably just ran out of memory space.
Oh, okay.
Because I only had like 2 hours or something like that of filming time.
Okay.
But yeah, but this was a good conversation. I knew it would be. I mean, it always is, like, when you come on or whatever, and we talk about whatever we talk about. But that's what I was saying. I think people will find this interesting because it's not common. Or I'm not gonna say it's not common. I don't know if it's common to be public for parents to talk to their kids, but as adults. in a very open and honest.
Jimmy
fashion.
Fallon, black people don't do it. Jimmy Fallon does it, and Ellen DeGeneres does.
Yeah,
do
they're
it.
not black.
But they're not black, so you're
Yeah.
talking about black.
And
So-
they don't. I don't know what their cultural rules are. White people don't really have no culture like that. So I don't know.
The cultural rules. Who instilled them in you, or did you just see them and you picked them up? Because I don't remember
Yeah.
giving you cultural rules.
No, I mean no, but I mean culture is more than just your house.
Right.
Culture
That's
is just like everybody that's black that
Yeah,
you see,
and-
that you observe.
that you
Like,
wouldn't. Yeah.
it's literally everybody who looks
Okay.
like you
Okay.
or whatever, and you just start to realize that parents are kind of off limits. Family is kind of off limits.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's weird because it's like, I mean, you see it portrayed in movies and stuff all the time where like it'll be like a big family, like on the surface everybody love each other and all that.
Right.
Because when you start peeling the layers back, like it's a whole bunch of issues with people who sitting at the same table, but they ain't never talked about it. Everybody knows about stuff, but nobody talks about nothing. And nobody ever disrespects like Big Mama or, you know what I'm saying, the strong female figure of the female leader of the family.
Right.
Like
right.
she got her issues, but everybody just gives her a pass just because that's just not what you do. And then so it's like you can't talk about your issues within the house, and it's against all codes to talk about your issues to people outside of the house. So you can't talk to nobody. So now you just got to walk around with however you feeling and just deal with it.
Did you notice those? Did you notice that cultural shift at the family reunions on your dad's side? Were you old enough to even pick up on all that when you went with Grandma Showed down to Jackson, Tennessee, and all that
I
stuff?
don't really remember.
Because you didn't like them anyway. You didn't like those barbecues anyway.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was probably just trying to stay out of the way of strangers.
I got you. Will this go out with the music anyway? Since it's not on camera, with the music in the back. Da, da, da,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your music
On the full episode, I mean, I'll put a clip up.
No, not the clip. The music that you play at the background when you're about to say bye. You always put I want to call it Jada Kiss, but it's not Jada.
It's Jewel's.
It's Jewel Santana, right?
Yeah, I don't do it on every episode though.
I do it on this one. I like that music.
Well, I ain't doing it. It's not gonna hit the same because it ain't no video.
No, it doesn't have to hit. Okay, no, but can it be back? It can't be dubbed in on the audio here.
That wouldn't make
It won't hit the
sense.
same. You're right.
That wouldn't make sense. Though.
Okay.
I mean, maybe next time, man. Maybe next
All right.
time.
Okay.
But before we get out of here, once again, just tell them where the people can find you if you want to be found. Of
Right.
course.
Normally you'll see me on his live podcast, and I come in as Barbara Jaxon 5109. No spaces, no underscores. It's just me, but I'm thinking about getting a pseudonym, so I'm thinking about figuring that one out and changing the picture. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just be really obvious and be like Jack's mom.
Oh boy.
See, listen to him.
I mean,
He said, "Oh man."
I
But,
guess.
I just want to say hi to all my fans. Look, they're be waving like someone's like all my Freck, and then there's American Kook, and Clarissa Explains It All, and Rock the Mug, and Miss Andromeda _Andromeda. I'm messing up. I apologize. I'm butchering how to pronounce it, but you know who I'm talking about, love. And then there's Mia versus Michelle, and then there's oh man, Vic, and I'm about to call her Mustafa, but it's Mufasa. But yeah, I mean the crew. I'm part of the. I love it. I'm wearing my Not Jacks. I'm rocking my Not Jacks crop top, and I'm part of the crew.
Oh god.
This has been great. It's good. Thank you for having me. I love you.
Love you too.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on.
I can't wait. When's the next time I get to come up? No. Just messing.
But yeah, so all right. And of course I am Jaxon1616. JAXON1616 is my Instagram. Jackson Allen 4 is my Twitter. And of course, I mean, if you've listened all the way to the end, that means you're on the Patreon. But if you have anybody or you know anyone who probably needs to hear this conversation or these types of conversations, man, please, you know what I'm saying, let them know or inform them about the Patreon, pressure them to get on it so I can pay my rent and so I can eat food every day because this is how you'll stay alive and all of that. So, but yeah, until next time, St. Louis, thank you again, hometown, we out.
You're not